Let's be clear, ladies and gents, not everyone with a schizophrenia diagnosis is violent, right? We understand this. Listen, if you've ever worked on a behavior health or mental health crisis unit, or even just a psychiatric unit in a hospital or a psychiatric hospital, you know that not every patient with schizophrenia is violent. Some of them are quite pleasant, right? Quite pleasant. Schizophrenia patients have different personalities. They are not all the same. There are different severities of schizophrenia, right? There are some people with schizophrenia that have never committed a crime, right? There are some people with schizophrenia, it's not as severe as others, or their medication is so therapeutic that on a daily basis they function without any evidence in their behavior that they have schizophrenia, right? I've met people with schizophrenia that are pleasant, they interact well, even though they have hallucinations, delusions, fixed delusions at times. Their thoughts are racing, they're responding to internal stimuli, but when they are able to connect with you and be free of the internal torment of the schizophrenia, they are pleasant. Now, I've met some very, very extremely combative people that have been diagnosed with schizophrenia as well, right? Let's get into this awful factual incident that occurred in North Carolina. Irina Zarutska. My condolences to her family. May she rest in peace. It's awful what happened to her. And, this lady had no expectations to be worried about getting on that train that day. Decarlos Brown Jr. has a history of interacting with law enforcement. He has a history of schizophrenia. He has a history of mental health issues. It's not an excuse. I'm not giving this man an excuse, because if tried and convicted, right, he'll go to prison and he can get his mental health medications there. Hopefully, if he goes there, he doesn't harm anybody there and nobody harms him. I don't know once he gets in that prison system. But there are a lot of mentally ill people in prison. And that's beginning to be the place where mentally ill people are being put because they're committing crimes. If I've not said so, Social Nurse here, thank you so much for stopping by. I read articles concerning Decarlos Brown Jr. I read and watched interviews of his mother speaking. She is very sorry for what her son did. She talks about how the healthcare system, whatever the mental health care system is there in Charlotte, North Carolina, failed her son. I'm going to agree with that, because if you ever worked with people that have schizophrenia or mental illnesses that require medication, you know that some of them can be hard to treat. They won't take their medication voluntarily every day. They won't do it. So I believe every word that his mother said. She said that the system failed him. There are reports that he was not taking his medication. And this man, unprovoked, right? Because the only thing that provoked him was himself, right? When I saw that man sitting on the train, after watching that whole video, right, the clip was present online where he stabs her She looks up frightened for a moment. She's kind of just there as he walks away. The seconds that she had left in life, maybe she was trying to gather her thoughts. It was so quick. She falls over. She bleeds out, right? She gets no immediate help. The people that were sitting around her get up. They walk away. I think sometimes people are just frightened. They're afraid to help. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to help. Hopefully some of those people who got up and walked away actually called 911. But that would not have done any good. This man stabbed. Let me rephrase that. Calling 911 is definitely a good thing to do. But where that man stabbed her in the neck, she bled out. I don't know if it was the carotid or the jugular, right? Mental health is a problem in the United States. I'm not giving him an excuse. I'm saying sometimes there's reasons why people are out here amongst the public. And it's because in many states, there is a failure to properly treat and house some of these people that are not able to live amongst the public. I know it's a big deal about mentally ill people or people with mental health diagnosis to live amongst the public. That is good. Some of them live amongst the public with no incidents. Their baseline is so good that you don't know, not through their behavior, that they have a mental health issue. They are medication compliant, right? But some people will not take their medication every day. They will avoid a long-acting injection, right? They cannot and should not live amongst just, people in the public, in the neighborhoods, on the city streets, in the community, because some people are non-compliant and hard to treat, right? They won't follow recommended therapy and medications, right? I believe the family that he was schizophrenic. I believe them when they say they took him to the hospital, but they were told there weren't beds, right? They had to take him somewhere else. I don't know what's going on in Charlotte, but it's not only Charlotte. There are other cities with this problem. There are not enough facilities for certain mentally ill people to live. Because not all of them can be amongst the public. Some of them need 24-hour supervision, regulating and ensuring that they are medication compliant. This doesn't mean they can't visit their family, go to the movie, do certain things, but there are mentally ill people that need supervision, right? And there are some mentally ill people, even though they're on medication, they still have fixed delusions. They still hear voices, even on the medication. Their experience of voices, racing thoughts, responding to internal stimuli never goes away, right? So I think as a nation, amongst the many states that we have, something needs to be done. It is a problem. These people come into emergency departments. They are violent. You cannot have a conversation with them. You have to get orders for them to be put in 4 points, feet and hands tied down. They need to be medicated in order to just get them to not be tearing up the whole emergency room, the whole med surg room if they're on there, the psych unit if they're on there, right? It is what it is. So this man required petitioning and certification. And you have these insurance companies that talk about utilization, right? They took him to the hospital, Decarlos Brown Jr.'s family, and they were told there weren't beds, right? It's a problem. His sister had a conversation with him, and that conversation revealed that he believes something is in him, and that something lashed out, according to him, at the victim, right? Condolences to Irina Zarutska. And it is what it is. Hopefully something happens better with mental health and having the proper facilities, right? Across this country. It's a problem. It's a problem, right? People are losing their lives. Either a person with a mental health problem fatally harms someone, or someone fatally harms them out of fear, right? Just my thoughts, social nurse.